Hey everyone, I'm Chef Z and welcome back to my channel, Chef Z Cooks. Today I am back with another fun and exciting live stream for you guys. We are making some Dominican style meatballs. Now before we get started, I just want everyone to say a huge hello in the group chat. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know if you guys can see or hear me. We had a little hiccup just when we were starting. We have a couple of thunderstorms that have been just rolling through, and so the Wi-Fi is a little can hear me and see me because listen, you don't want to miss this amazing dinner that I have planned. I see a couple of people are joining us here today, so thank you guys for taking the time to join us. Now, as you guys know, I always like to give people just a few minutes to join us. For those who might be running a little bit late, it's 7 o'clock. You know, some people are either cooking dinner, finishing up dinner, about to make dinner, or just like taking their sweet time. Listen, I have been there. I see a couple people here in the group chat. Hey, you guys. We have Karina that says, hola, ¿cómo está? Me encanta tu canal. Bendiciones a ti y a tu familia y muchos éxitos. Muchas gracias, Karina. Me alegro que le gusta el canal y todas las recetas. We have Sharika. Hello from New Jersey. What's up? I'm actually going to be in New Jersey this weekend and again next weekend, so hello. We have people from Virginia. We have Florida in the house. What's up? We have Jessica who says, hi, how are you? Love the live. Thank you so much. I'm actually doing pretty well. Thank you so much for asking. I'm actually doing extra well today because with all the thunderstorms that have been rolling through, I just feel like the weather finally calmed down a little bit. So we got a break from some of the humidity. We got a break from the heat. So it means that cooking today should be much more, how do I say this? Not as much of a struggle. Like hopefully by the end of today's live, I won't be sweating on the floor. Like I honestly wish I could record the behind the scenes after I'm done with the lives and when I take my apron off and you just see like all the sweat on my shirt. TMI, by the way, my bad. But that's the real tea. That's what happens. So a day like today, I have a nice breeze coming through the kitchen. It feels super, super nice. We have hello, ¿cómo estás? From New Jersey, from Jennifer Torres. Hello. We have a couple of New Jerseyans in the house. Hi. We have Violet who says, hi, Chef Z. Hola, hola. Me alegro a todo el mundo. Gracias por venir y compartir con nosotros hoy en este live stream. Hoy le voy a enseñar cómo hacer Dominican Meatballs. Estamos esperando ahora que la gente llegue. So I'm trying to do a better job at making this a little bit more bilingual because we know I know that we have people who join us who speak English and who also speak Spanish, and I want everyone just to feel comfortable. Sometimes I get so excited when I'm doing these live streams that I trip over my own words when I'm speaking in Spanish, and a lot of you guys know I actually speak several languages, and it's a little bit of a mishmash sometimes in my brain as I'm trying to like choose which one of the languages I need to speak on the spot. We have Beauty Killer D. What's up? She says, hey, I made it to another live. I love you. Thank you for all that you do. We have Texas in the house. We have Maria. Thank you for joining us. Now, again, we have a ton of great food today. Now, it's been a couple of minutes, so I feel like we can just go ahead, jump right in, and get started. Thank you again for joining us. Now, today, we are going to be making some Dominican style meatballs. Now, Dominican style meatballs are super unique. They're super flavorful, and they don't taste like your average meatball, and that's because you don't make them like the same way as your average meatball. Some of the ingredients are similar. Some of the ingredients are a little bit different, and aside from the way that you actually season the meat from Dominican meatballs, the sauce also sets it apart. We have a super chat. Thank you so much, Callahan. Not sure what currency that is, but thank you.
Indian ruple.
Oh, Indian ruple. Hi, thank you. My husband just let me know. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. I see all your questions, and then we also have Callahan again. Oh, greetings from Indonesia. Thank you, thank you. So I see that we have a couple of questions about how my home build is going, and I'll be more than happy to address that in a little bit. I just want to get this started because this dish actually takes a little bit to make. So we're making some Dominican style meatballs, and I already told you guys that Dominican style meatballs are unique in flavor and the way that you make them. They're not like your average Italian meatballs. And honestly, when you think about it, every culture has their own way of making meatballs, and I'm just really excited to share this version with you guys because it is the way that my grandmother actually used to make it, which is so delicious and so out of this world. Keep in mind that the recipe is listed down below in the description box. It's listed on my website, and it's also listed right here on screen for you guys. So if you do want to follow along, or if you want to replay this video, you definitely can. Now, I totally understand that some of you guys may not want to replay this longer video because it's a live stream. And guess what? You're in luck because I actually have a fully dedicated shorter video here on my channel that I posted not too long ago on how to make Dominican style meatballs. And then I have an oldie but goodie. I think it was like the second or the third video I ever shared here on my channel where I show you guys how to make some cilantro lime meatballs, which is another fun take on this. All right, so to make some Dominican style meatballs, we're going to need a couple of ingredients. So we're going to need some grass-fed ground beef, and as you can see, this is beautiful, fresh, and super vibrant. You can tell by the color. And I see that somebody asked, Brandel asked, question, do you wash the ground beef? If so, how? I actually don't, because you can introduce way too much moisture into the meat and it can actually ruin some of the recipes that you're making. So one of the things that I look out for is to make sure that I choose a ground beef that's really nice in color, just like you see here. Now, I'm always talking about using grass-fed ground beef, and I just also wanted to show you guys the packaging of the grass-fed ground beef that I'm using today. Now, full disclosure, I did order my groceries today from Amazon Fresh. This is not sponsored, but I did order all of the ingredients from Amazon Fresh, and this is what they have, and this is probably what you can also find in Whole Foods. So just wanted to show you, and really what I like to look out for is that it says 100% grass-fed and finished ground beef. I am using an 85-15 blend, which is more or less the same type of blend that I like to use when I'm making some hamburgers because I want the meat to be super nice. You guys want to, sometimes I know I'm always saying these things, I'm always saying like free range, hormone free, grass fed. So I think it's important to show you exactly what I'm using, which honestly is the point with a lot of these live streams. I see that we have a couple of questions. We have Andrea from Chicago, hello, and someone says, can I use turkey for this? You absolutely can use turkey. You can also use ground chicken. The main thing that you want to look out for if you're using some of the leaner meats like chicken or turkey is that you want to reduce the amount of salt that you're putting into this recipe by at least half, because you really don't have to fuss and finesse with those types of meats too much. Someone here says that you're sending love from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hello, we have Connecticut in the house as well. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get started. I told you a little bit about the ground beef. If you have any more questions specifically about the meat, feel free to add it to the group chat so that I can see it and answer them. So first things first, we're now going to add some onions, and it can be red onions or white onions. Now in the YouTube video, in the dedicated YouTube video where I show you guys how to make this dish, I actually use white onions, but you can use either or. I actually had some onions left over from the shrimp ceviche that I made the other day, so I figured why waste it, just use it in this recipe. Here I have a green bell pepper, which I also diced up, and you want to make sure to dice it up into some small pieces. My mop just fell in the background, so if you heard that noise, I apologize. So we're just adding that to the meat. And now we're also going to add some garlic. Now I went ahead and I mashed the garlic in my trusty handy dandy Bouillon. Mash it up with a little bit of salt until it becomes almost like a paste. And now I'm going to add that to the meat as well. And now to the meat, we're going to add some Sazón con Achiote. And we're just going to add that to the meat. and this is going to give it some really nice color and flavor. Some Dominican oregano, which you guys know is a must for a lot of my recipes here, especially Dominican recipes, because of its unique flavor. If you don't have Dominican oregano, Mexican oregano will do. And if you don't have that either, then regular oregano. And lucky for you, if you don't live in near Hispanic or Caribbean community or supermarket, I do have a link down below on my Amazon. We have a little bit of sopita, which is a chicken bouillon cube. Now keep in mind that this is my grandmother's recipe, so I'm using as many of the ingredients as she used to use. And here I have some Salsa China, which is just some soy sauce, and I use some light sodium soy sauce, and this really adds awesome flavor to it as well. And now we're also going to add 1 large egg, and this is a free range egg, which I also ordered as part of my Amazon Fresh delivery. And last but not least, I'm going to be adding some plain breadcrumbs. It's really important that you use plain breadcrumbs because we don't want to add any other flavors to this. Sometimes they come seasoned with basil, dry parsley, and honestly, we don't want to introduce those flavors into our dish. Not that they're bad flavors, but they're going to alter the flavor of our Dominican meatballs, and we want to keep these as authentic and traditional as possible. So I'm just going to add that. Now, the recipe calls for about half a cup, and I have a little bit more here than half a cup simply because sometimes you just need it. So I'm just going to add a little bit, and if I need more, I can always add a little bit more. Now I'm just going to mix everything until it's well combined. Now, if you have kids, this is honestly like part of the fun part because they can go in here and get their hands dirty and mix everything up. So I'm just trying to mix it until it's well combined. And honestly, I'm not even gonna spend too much time with the spoon. I'm actually going to put on some gloves, and I'm using non-latex, non-powder gloves. These are actually vinyl gloves. And for those of you who think that, you know, cooking with gloves se le va a pegar el olor de la comida, that's not true, especially with these, because estos guantes no son de, I don't know how you say rubber. How do you say rubber, babe? They're not latex, so we're good. We're good. Now, you guys know, I hate when my hands smell like food. So that's one of the main reasons I also use gloves to cook, aside from the fact that I also don't want to cross-contaminate my cooking station. So I'm going to go in with my hands, and we're really just going to massage the flavors in there. Oh, yeah. So, so nice. I'm just looking at some of the comments. We have Love who says, oh my God, I made salami stew. It was so delicious. I made it twice in the same week. Sounds like you are eating amazing. Thank you, guys. So Samantha says, guys, check out Chef Z's bread pudding. I made it this weekend. Wow, that is a good one. You know, that's definitely a video that not a lot of people watch, but it's hands down one of my favorite recipes to make. Oh yeah. So someone says, amor, ¿qué tal si nos enseñas a hacer pan dulce? Me encantaría hacerlo, pero primero tengo que practicar antes que yo haga un video en cómo hacerlo. So Melissa Santiago says, hello, fun, first time watching your live. Well, thank you for joining us. So we have Tanya who says, I use gloves as well. You're not alone. I'm happy to see that. It's funny because sometimes when I use gloves, I get a lot of heat for that. I'm just trying to gauge if I need a little, no, I think we're fine. I was just trying to gauge if we need a little bit more breadcrumbs. Now keep in mind that one of the ingredients that you don't want to substitute when making any kind of meatballs is your breadcrumbs and the eggs, and that's because they serve as a binder, and that's what's going to be the two ingredients that like really holds everything together. So it's almost like making a meatloaf. You want to make sure that it doesn't fall apart once you put it onto the stove. So now, fun fact, if you make this with turkey or chicken, you can actually get away with not using the binders just because it's a little bit of a stickier meat, at least in my experience. So now for the fun part, we're gonna start making the meatballs. We're gonna start making las albóndigas. Now, up to you. You can make them as big or as small as you like. I like to make them medium size, so they're like almost like the size of my eye, at least from my perspective. I don't know if from your perspective it looks like the size of my eye, but more or less they're like about medium, and you want to make them about the same size just so that they cook just about evenly. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to make all the meatballs until pretty much we're out of meat. Now, you know, this is hands down one of my family's like favorite things to eat. So if you have a lot of people to feed, then I also recommend that you make them a little bit smaller, just so that they can eat more meatballs, because if you make them too big, then after people grab like 2-3 meatballs, that's it, ya se acabó la carne, and la gente se queda con hambre buscando comida, and you definitely don't want that. Now, I know I didn't mention this before. I know it was like written in the description, and I know it was written on screen, but just so you guys know, I am using about 2 pounds of meat, and typically that should serve you like around, like I want to say 8 to 10 people, depending if they each have like 3 meatballs each. But the way that my family eats the meatballs, ellos se comen son como 5 y 6, like 5 or 6, so casi no rinde. So that's why I make them not too small and not too big, para que quede, because eso lo peor cuando la gente se queda buscando comida. All right, let's see. So someone says best idea was boiling the prenup. Oh my God, life changing. Bernie. Sorry. Oh, I was, for a second I thought you were asking me if we had a prenup, and I was like, that's a little personal. I was like, that kind of came out of left field. But yes, boiling the pernil is, listen, that is my grandmother's trick. And not even my grandmother's trick, because I know that some of the older people in the community also have the same trick. Y ese es el truco para que le quede pernil bien jugoso y bien sabroso. So I'm just rolling the meatballs and looking at your guys' comments, and some Tiger Lily said 8 to 10 people. Listen, like, you think sometimes that you're making enough food for everyone, y después te llega la gente con hambre. And then you're like, oh man, did I really make enough food? Like, do I have meat in the fridge que yo puedo sazonar de un pronto? Because, oh my goodness. By the way, I really wish you guys could smell this, because esto huele riquísimo, riquísimo, riquísimo. Now again, if you have kids, this is actually a really fun dish for you guys to make them together, because they just get to get their hands dirty, you get them involved in the kitchen, and they just start rolling like little balls. And I remember actually making this with my sister when she was a little bit younger. Here we go. Someone's here from Brooklyn. You'll be making this tonight. Thank you, Dominique. Let me know how yours come out. I really hope you enjoy this recipe. Looks like we're gonna both be eating really good, because best believe we are having this for dinner. I actually have, the minute I told my mother and my sister that I was making the Dominican meatballs on the live stream, they were like, ah, pues ya vamos. So they're coming here tonight for dinner, so I'm excited to see them. And that's also part of the reason why I'm making a little bit extra food tonight. You guys know usually I make more or less enough for my husband and myself, and for us to have a little bit of leftovers. And since it's just the 2 of us, I can get away with not making a lot of food. But tonight is going to be like 6 of us. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have them over. And honestly, one of the exciting parts about doing these live stream with you guys is that I get to show you in real time dishes that build on each other, because honestly, all of the fresh ingredients that I've been using for the meatballs today were all ingredients that I had left over from the previous live streams and recipes that we made within the last 2 weeks. And I just didn't want the food to go bad, because, you know, la comida está cara ahora, you know, you can't let the onions and the peppers que se gaten. So we have Muchachi, who says, first time watching you live. Thank you for all your videos. Thank you for joining us today. And you know something? Speaking about speaking about the videos, I do want to say that my regular shorter videos will be making a comeback. This live stream was a summer series, and so I hope you have been enjoying them, but don't worry because those shorter videos will be coming back very, very soon. What were we?
No comment about that.
Oh, let's see. Oh, Karina. Okay, Karina says, mis hijos te saluden desde Santo Domingo, Luis, José y Rafael. Saludos, ¿cómo están? Gracias por compartir con nosotros hoy. Me alegro que están aquí. I hope you're having fun. Espero que lo están disfrutando. Hello, hello, hello. My husband is here helping me read the comments, especially right now because my hands are dirty, so I don't want to like touch the screen here that I'm looking to wash the comments.
Someone said that you're their secret.
Ooh, I'm your secret. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All your recipes for their Dominican boyfriend.
You make all the recipes. Well, first of all, you're a G. And second of all, I'm sure you are in a very happy relationship if you are cooking and eating good. But most of all, thank you guys for the support. I'm gonna tell you guys like a little funny story while I'm here rolling these meatballs. So as many of you know, or many of you may not know actually, hold on, babe, can you get the hair out of my it's like, sorry. Ooh, thank you. So that was a little cameo for my husband. So some of you guys may not know, my husband is actually Dominican, and the few times that I show him on my social media, we get all sorts of comments because they're like, what's your husband? Oh my gosh, show him. And he comes from a family of women that, they know how to cook, okay? Like they know what they're doing in the kitchen. So for the longest time, and I actually met him when I was still taking some culinary classes and I was in training, and I was like super scared to actually cook Hispanic food for him, especially Dominican food for him, because once I tasted the food that his mom, his aunt, and his sister make, I was like, I don't know about this. But I still remember the day that I had to make my pernil. Of all things, I had to make my pernil for a family birthday. And when I tell you, all the women in his family were like, te puede casar. He's in good hands. I was like, oh, okay, good. I got the seal of approval. Because it was a little bit of it was some pressure, I'm not gonna lie. And I know how it is, because I get comments from you guys all the time that you guys feel the pressure either from your partners or your in-laws, and I get it. I've been there. I totally feel you. So here we said, oh, Sharon says we need a pressure cooker sancocho recipe. Listen, Sharon, it's coming. Are you spying on my little like recipe list for next year? Because that's hands down definitely on the list. So be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be, when the weather está un poco más frito. That's when I'll share it. But I have been working on that. We have, okay, I'm not gonna butcher this. It's a long name. Star, Doll, Haley, and Emma. You literally taught me so much when it comes to Dominican recipe. My boyfriend is from Brooklyn, Dominican, and he loves every time. Oh, that's the one that, I see what it is. That's the one my husband was telling me about. Hi from Austin, Texas. What's the weather looking like in Austin? Because if it's hot here in New York, I can only imagine how hot it is in Texas. All right, I actually am going to take off the gloves for just a second. I'm going to show you why. Because I miscalculated, not in a bad way, but I miscalculated nonetheless. And mira. So I've been making the meatballs. I've been making the meatballs and I've been putting them on a tray, but the tray is not big enough because, as you can see, todavía me queda carne. So I'm just going to very quickly grab a plate just so that I have something else to put it on, because something that you want to be mindful about is that you don't want the meatballs touching each other too much before they cook, because otherwise they're gonna se van a pegar, and you don't want that at all. So round two, get my own hair out the way this time. How you guys doing? So someone said, so Zach Concepcion said, can you please repeat how you season the meatballs? Hey, not a problem. I'm more than happy. So I have the ingredients listed on the screen, but pretty much what I did was I added some fresh onions, some fresh peppers. I added some fresh garlic, which I went ahead and I actually mashed up with a little bit of kosher salt. And then to that, I added some chicken bouillon cube. I also added some Sazón con Achiote, Dominican Oregano, breadcrumbs. And if I miss any other ingredient, it's definitely listed on the screen. So I'm just rolling more meatballs. As you can see, I'm not making them too big or too small. Although, if you ask my mom, she might say that these are on the larger side. But you know, tomato. These, in my book, these are medium. I don't know if you guys ever been to like an Italian restaurant where the meatballs sometimes are like jumbo size. And I love them, by the way. But also, shout out to Richie, my stepfather. He's Italian, so we have meatball night quite often. He's actually coming over today to enjoy some Dominican style meatballs because he's definitely a huge fan. We have Tiffany Shepard who says, oh my God, I love you. My mother is Panamanian and can't cook a lick. We use similar ingredients. We're a big fan of Dominican food. I have followed you all through COVID, made some really good dishes. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. That I would love to try some Panamanian food. I've actually tried it a few times, especially here in Brooklyn. And whew, you're right. The ingredients are very similar and super, super tasty. Let's see, I'm just looking at some of the comments. We have Swanky Angela. Are you going to stop making lives? No. So that's the thing. I'm not going to stop making lives. Like, I'll be totally honest. Like, me doing these live streams over the summer was 100% an experiment. I have been experimenting for a while with making longer videos in addition to my shorter videos because all of you guys love the shorter videos. But a lot of you guys are like, listen, can you hang out a little bit more? Like, we see you on Instagram and you talk a whole mess. Can we see this on YouTube? So I thought about, you know, what would cooking live on YouTube look like? So I did it a few times. I did it for like 2 weeks. The turnout was great. The feedback was great. So I was like, you know what? We're going to do this all summer and we're going to turn this into a series. And now that we're in the thick of the series, we've been doing this now for 2 months. I'm like, I think we should keep doing this. So be on the lookout for the future of the lives in the fall. It's nothing you have to worry about right now, but just know that no, I'm not going to stop doing the lives. It's just going to be a question of what's the schedule going to look like moving forward once the weather gets a little bit cooler, just because we live a little bit differently. All right, so I am done making the meatballs. So as you can see right here, so excited. So as you can see right here, I have my meatballs done and ready to be cooked. So I'm actually going to head on over to the stove where we're going to heat up our pan. We're going to add the meatballs. We're going to cook them. We're also going to, I forgot to mention this before, we're also going to be making some tostones. And shout out to my mother because she got me the plátanos for today and they look beautiful in my opinion, nice and big. So we're going to be having them with some tostones, and of course, no se puede olvidar el arroz. So I have some rice going in my handy dandy rice cooker, and I have a ton of the tools that I'm using listed down below and in my Amazon store. So let's head on over to the stove so that we can start cooking these bad boys. All right. So by the way, this already smells amazing. As you can see today, I am using my green pan pots and pans. I talk so much about them. and I haven't yet cooked with them on a live, so I actually wanted to do that. Now, I'm going to brown the meatballs first, but I am going to, the ingredients for the sauce is a little bit different, and we use a lot of similar ingredients that we use to season the actual meatballs, but the ingredients will be listed right on the screen for you guys. And it's a very easy sauce to make. It's actually very similar to the salami guisado sauce, so you already know the sauce is going to be fire and so good. I'm just letting my pot come up to temperature a little bit, and I'm just cleaning up my workstation because y'all know sometimes I cook and I do these things and I make a little bit of a mess. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about in the group chat. Someone said, awesome updates, thank you. Do you list your recipe for your lives ahead of time? Absolutely. So I actually list the recipe. So at the time that the live stream is announced and it shows up in your subscription feed, the ingredients are already listed in the description box. And then in addition to that, the ingredients are also linked to my website, which gives a little bit more explanation and a little bit more color. And 9 times out of 10, the recipes and the dish that I'm making also has a dedicated YouTube video. So if you want a little bit more in-depth information that's solely based on the dish that we're making, you can also find it on my YouTube channel. And if that wasn't enough, I also share the same day that we're going to be going live. Usually in the morning, I create a little community post just reminding you guys, like, hey, come hang out with your girl. And there I also link the recipe. So I try my hardest to get the recipe as much as I can to you guys. I'm still trying to find the best method because sometimes I know the algorithm plays games, which I'm like, stop it, y'all trying me. But yes, I do list the recipes ahead of time for those who want to follow along. Yes, so Love says, what type of rice cooker do you use? I use this real simple rice cooker that is nothing to write home about. It's by Oster. I have it linked down below. I get it from Target. It's like $25. They do have it on Amazon, but full disclosure, it's cheaper on Target.com. You can find it in person. Now, my rice cooker just has 2 settings. It's like on and more on. Honestly, I know that there's like fancier rice cookers, but that's the one that I use that works for me. And it's on the smaller side because, again, most of the time I am just cooking for like no more than like 2 to 5 people. So if you have a larger family, you might want to look into a larger rice cooker. Just take a sip of water. Oh my God. So Gladys is asking, are you making bernice Saturday? Unfortunately, I'm not making bernice this Saturday because I am super busy, but there will still be some amazing good food on Saturday. Glass is asking, Glass has an insider track as to what my plans are this Saturday, so that's why she's asking this. So shout out to Gladys. All right, I'm gonna head back over. Let's see. Oh, someone has good eyes. So CG Pipeline is asking, is that a new apron I see? Well, yes, it is actually. If you must ask. So this is another little exclusive sneak peek to a project that my husband and I have been working on. Now, you guys know that one of the other projects that you guys also saw a sneak peek were the denim aprons that I am known for wearing. And another one is this one. So good eye, CG Pipeline. But yes, this is another apron that I have been working on, which hang tight because these will be available to you guys super soon. Just kind of working out some of the minor details so I can get them in your hands as quickly as possible. All right, let's head on over to the stove so we can start cooking. So I see a comment here that says, shame on you, Dominicans don't use rice cookers. I suppose I also have Cubans, and Cubans definitely use rice cookers, and it is 2022, and sometimes I need to cut a few corners. But I totally feel you. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of olive oil, not too much. Honestly, that might have been a little bit too much, but I can always take some out later. So this has come up to temperature, and I always do my little hand hover over the stove. Now, the reason I don't want to add too much olive oil is because, remember, we did use an 85-15 blend, so it's going to have its own juice. So let me just get another glove real quick, because now we're just going to add the meatballs to the dish. Well, to the pot, I should say. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. I love this sound. And I just add them and I just go around and around. I make sure that they're not touching. And by the way, I have my flame on like about medium, because we actually just want to brown them. We don't want to burn them. Oh, this smells amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I hope everything will fit. I think it will. I'll show you guys my little trick to making them fit. So I'm just, luckily, because I'm using the green pan non-stick, these, as soon as they touch the hot pan, the meat like kind of toughens up a little bit and they hold their shape. So I'm then able to nudge them and create a little bit more room on my pan. I think honestly we're gonna have just enough room. Mira, mira, mira eso. I got one more. Is there room for one more? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. Amazing. Now you don't want to go too far because these actually take color pretty quickly. And again, I'm just, where is my spoon? All right. So just as quickly as I added them, usually I do a better job at keeping track in the order that I place them in, but we're just going to, yeah, you see, I gotta reduce my flame because they're starting to get a little bit too much color. I'm gonna go in with a smaller spatula since we're working with a ton of meatballs. Yeah, look at those, they've gotten nice color. And it's okay if they get a little bit too crispy like I did right here. That was my fault, but it's not the end of the world. Oh yeah, come on. Flip this part, this little meatball right here. We'll come back to that one. Does not want to flip. And again, super, super quick. There we go. Oh, these smell amazing. Now, by the way, in a lot of the other live streams, I was using the caraway pots and pans, which I still love. And every time I'd mention them, I'd also mention how I love my green pan ones. So I figured today would be the perfect video to show me cooking in the green pan ones. Although you guys are probably like super used to it because I film a lot of my videos with these pots and pans as well. And that's simply because I love these pots and pans. They're so feminine and they're just so luxurious with the gold handle, but they are a little bit high maintenance as far as like how you have to care for them just because of the gold handle, because it's gold plated. So you can very easily wipe off the gold plating. So I flipped all of the meatballs. And now I just want the other side to get a little bit of color. And while that's happening, let's see what you guys are talking about in the group chat. Put the flame up a little bit. All right, so we're back. We're letting the meatballs just get a little bit of color. So they've browned on one side. We want them to brown on the other side. The key to making sure that the meatballs cook evenly is to more or less make them the same size. Now, as you can see for yourself, they actually cook pretty quickly on their own. So it's a dish that you always want to kind of stay on top of, especially in this phase, because you don't want to burn them, because otherwise they just become as hard as little golf balls, and that's definitely something that we want to avoid. So Zach said, what's wrong with the cardero? There is nothing wrong with the cardero. I just need to cut corners a little bit. So these days I use a rice cooker just to make it a little bit easier. But when I'm cooking for a lot more people other than my husband and I, trust me, the cardero is in full effect. So we have M Cortex ceramic pots. Yes, these are a form of ceramic non-stick, non-toxic pots, and I have them linked down below, the ones that I like to use. The ones that I have been using lately are the ones by Caraway and Green Pan. Oh God. You guys are getting like, I don't want, keep it fun. I'm looking at the comments like, what's wrong with cardero? It's like, listen. We're all family here, so I don't want you guys like duking it out in the group chat, all right? So we're all good. So Love said, yes, girl, you're not going to be alone. I will be purchasing one. Thanks for the info on the rice cooker, because it's just me and my hubby now, and we're comfortable with changes and less pots and pans. I totally agree. And fun fact, like the rice cooker was actually my husband's idea, and I thank him every day for that. So I can hear the meatballs just chirping away. So I'm just gonna check on them real quick so that we can then get started on making the sauce and then the rest of the ingredients. So I'll see you guys over on the stove. So as you can see, the meatballs are releasing their own juices. And honestly, all I want is for them to brown on both sides, but I don't want them to cook all the way through, because I actually want them to cook all the way through when we make the sauce. So I'm actually now going to take them out. And that's how quickly it is, because again, the purpose of this was to just let them brown. So just very gently, we're just going to take them out. Now you want to be super careful not to take a bite out of them, because remember, they're not cooked all the way through. They just have color on both sides, like you see right here. Yeah, just making sure you guys can see what I'm working with. I want you guys to see all the details. So I'm just taking them out. And again, if your meatballs are cooking a little bit too quickly, feel free to adjust the flame. Now, another thing that you guys can do is you technically could actually brown these in the stove, but I don't like to do that because part of this dish is albóndiga guisada, which means stewed meatballs. So you want some of that juice in the actual sauce. Let me this is getting hot, so let me just. So yeah, so one of the reasons I like to take them out in this phase and let them finish cooking in the sauce is because I want them to release their flavor in the sauce as well. Now, same like before, you just want to be careful not to overstack your dish when you're doing this, because they can still kind of stick together. Not too much, but better safe than sorry. And we have some nice flavor building at the bottom of our pot, which is my absolute favorite. All right, so now we're going to move a little bit quickly. I'm just going to turn down the flame a little bit, and to this we're going to add our onions. We're going to add our peppers, and you guys know when this is sauteing, I like to hit it with a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper. And again, we're creating the basis of our pasta, not our pasta sauce, our tomato sauce for the meatballs. We're going to mix this all together. And again, we're moving quickly here because we just want to capture all of that flavor at the bottom of the pot. So, so good. All right, and now we're going to add our Sazón con Achiote. We're going to add our Dominican Oregano. And then to that, we're going to add our Sopita, which is a chicken bouillon cube. And that's going to add some nice flavor to the whole dish. And we're going to add some red wine vinegar, which is something that my grandmother did all the time. Add that to the sauce. Ooh, smells amazing, 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 amazing. So just mixing that all together. Oh yeah. Now, by the way, if you didn't want to have the onions and the pepper sliced, you can also dice them and they'll be smaller. So that's something you can definitely do. We now have here the tomato paste. Now again, I want the sauce to be tomatoey, but I don't want it to be too tomatoey. I almost want it to be like similar to the sauce of a carne guisada or pollo guisado, which is one of the elements that sets Dominican meatballs apart from other traditional meatballs. So I'm just mixing this all together. And now to this, we're going to be adding some water. And this is going to help the tomato paste break apart. Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna ask, do you need to add the red wine vinegar?
Oh no, you don't actually have to add the red wine vinegar. The red wine vinegar is just going to give it some nice little subtle acidity. but you can definitely do without if you don't have it. Or if you don't have red wine vinegar, you can also use white distilled vinegar. Red wine vinegar just so happens to be my preferred vinegar of choice, which is why I use it all of the time. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the water. Now again, this is going to be more similar to the sauce of like pollo or carne guisada than say like a pasta sauce, because it's you know, stewed meatballs, so the components of the dish is a little bit different. Now while we're here, I just want to taste everything, make sure we are on track. A ver. Take a little spoonful. Let's see how we doing over here. That's good. We have Yomi. Thank you so much for the super chat. You said, thank you. Husband and kids love recipes I've been making on your channel. Oh my God. Thank you so much. So Dominique says, can I use Goya sofrito instead of tomato paste? I honestly don't know. Fun fact, don't use Goya products, so I wouldn't know what the Goya sofrito would taste like in this recipe. So if you use your own sofrito, that might be good. And again, like, I don't know what it tastes like, so it's hard for me to give you some guidance on that front. So I tasted the tomato sauce and it tastes pretty good. It just needs a little bit more salt, so I'm just gonna adjust the flavors and then we'll move on to the next part of this dish. So I'll see you over at the stove. All right, so I have here some tomato paste that was like left over. I don't want to lose that. I definitely want to incorporate that. Now I'm going to be adding a little bit of kosher salt, but you can use adobo instead if that's what you have on hand, or you can even add a little bit more sopita if that's what you want. So I'm just going to mix this all together, and just know that once you add the meat, the flavor of the sauce is also going to change a little bit as well, because the meatballs are going to add their own flavor to that. So I'm just going to taste this one more time with a clean spoon. Here we go. Let's see if that little adjustment was what it needed. Yep, right on the money. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add the meatballs back into the sauce, and then they're going to slowly simmer for about 20 minutes. And then while that is simmering, we're going to be making the other aspects of our dish. So back to the stove. Can't forget my meatballs. This is arguably the star of the show. So I'm just going to add the meatballs back into the sauce very, very gently. Now I should mention that it's totally optional that you can add olives to the sauce. My husband, as you guys know, is not a fan of olives, and I have added olives to almost every single dish that I have made here in the live stream. So today he was like, babe, please. So I was like, all right, you get one. You get one. But you can totally add olives to the dish if you want. And you can also add cilantro if you like as well, if you want a little added freshness to it. If you do add the cilantro, I recommend that you add it at the very end. So I'm just adding the meatballs back in. And this is when you know things are seriously, seriously coming together. I still have a few meatballs off here to the side. Can't forget them. And honestly, I'm just gonna fit them in where they can go. Cause now, let's see, we got two. Do I have room for two more? I better. All right, here we go. Oh, amazing. So I just added that. And then one thing that I like to do is, as soon as I add them, I like to flip them and just make sure that they're covered in the sauce. Now I find that when I'm making a pot full of meatballs like I'm doing today, because remember, I am having family come over right after this live stream to enjoy this good food. So I'm making a little bit. And by the way, these are amazing as leftovers as well. So I'm just flipping them over. I'm being super careful. I actually have two of these, so I'm like, I don't know why I'm over here struggling. So I'm just flipping them over, and you'll see why. Because after I flip them all over, I'm actually going to cover them and let them stew. So And again, you can actually flip them over at the end, but I like to just flip them over now. So just because I know that that's one less step I have to worry about later on. I hope you guys are enjoying today's live stream and today's video. This is hands down one of my favorite recipes. It reminds me of my childhood. My family goes absolutely gaga and crazy for these meatballs. All right, so I flipped over all of those meatballs. That looks amazing. I just want to dig into one right now. CG Pipeline, thank you so much for the super chat. You said, love these live chefs. I'm making these tonight. Definitely comment and let me know how they come out and let me know where you're eating them with. And thank you so much for your support. So I just flipped all of the meatballs. So I'm now going to take the lid and I'm going to cover them, and then I'm going to lower the flame just a little bit, let them simmer, and then we're going to move on to the next part of this dish. So I'm going to place the lid onto the meatballs. I'm going to lower the flame just a little bit. And now, for the next part of this dish, has to be one of my favorite parts. We have Jahida who says, thank you so much for the super chat as well. You said, can you make grocery haul videos? That way I know my food tastes exactly like yours. 100%. I can totally do that. Fun fact, I started doing that on my Instagram and I was not prepared at the amount of people who would enjoy those. I'm full disclosure, I'm always trying new grocery stores, and I'll be more than happy to kind of give my 2 cents as to my different grocery haul. You guys already, if you've been here, you guys already know some of my thoughts on some other grocery store retailers. So, all right. So the next thing that we're going to be making is tostones, fried green plantains. So I have the tostones here. Fun fact, I don't know about you guys, it must have been con el calor or the heat, but I had to go to 3 different supermarkets para encontrar unos plátanos because they were all ya se maduran. Everywhere I went, los plátanos estaban maduros. They didn't have green ones, and I was like, but why? What is happening here? So again, I don't know if the heat has been making them turn. This is the tostonera, which I'm going to be using later, and also the cup, which I'm also going to use later, and I'll tell you why, because I actually prefer the cup over the tostonera. But there's a time and a place for the tostonera. So ignore like the big old mess that's happening back here. All right, so I'm gonna start peeling the plátano, and you guys know I have shown you guys how to peel a plátano so many different times. I always like to use a paring knife, one that fits very comfortably in my hand because I just have a lot more control. And I do have a dedicated video here on my channel, and in so many other videos where I peel the plátano, I also have like a little mini tutorial baked in. So I like to go in and I like to just dice both ends. And then with the very tip of the knife, I like to go in and run my knife through the skin and then through the edge, create like another little slit. And again, through the ends. And then I take my thumbs, which are a key component to peeling plátano, and I pry the skin off. Now this one is, oh, okay. There we go, see? And it's as easy as that. So we have someone here who says, thank you from the Dominican Republic. Someone says, can you make sopa de plátano? Had it in Miami years ago. So sopa de plátano is one of my mom's favorite soups. When she was pregnant with my sister, that was the only thing that her stomach could handle when she had morning sickness. So my grandmother actually taught me how to make it. So it is very near and dear to our hearts here. So Emily Santiago wants to know, so for how long overall do you cook the meatballs? So I cook the meatballs overall for like about, I would say in total it's gonna be from beginning to end anywhere from like 30 to 40 minutes. So I would say browning it took maybe, give me a second, sorry, I'm like, I totally just had an aloof moment. I had to turn on the oil to warm it up. But to answer your question, from start to finish, it's about 30 minutes. It probably took approximately maybe 10 minutes to brown it. It took maybe 5 minutes to make the sauce. And then it's going to take approximately 20 minutes for the meatballs to cook thoroughly, because we're stewing the meatballs en albóndiga guisada. So you want them to cook all the way through on a medium to low heat. And that's so that the meatballs come out super, super nice. Now, back to peeling the plátano real quick. Some of you are probably like, what are you doing? So after I peel the plátano, I like to go in and I like to just clean it up just a little bit. I like to take the cáscara off as much as possible, because otherwise when you fry them up, they fry up like black. And you don't want that. Pero tampoco no me quiero llevar plátano entero, you know, because we need to have something. And then, up to you, you can cut them like this, or you can cut them on an angle like this. There's no right or wrong way. It's really a preference. I guess I'll just finish cutting these on an angle. Again, I don't have a preference. It really comes down to my mood. And you more or less want to cut them roughly in about 1-inch pieces. So I'm just going to now cut my second plátano. These plátanos, they look really good and I hope so, because when I tell you, it was a struggle to find green ones today. So Yuli says that I mentioned I'm half Dominican and you want to know what's my other half. Yuli, I am half Cuban. Yes, ma'am. So I am what I like to call ropa vieja con mangú. CG Pipeline said. A couple of people are already like, she's half Cuban. You'd be surprised how many people ask that question. I guess how many people are surprised, because sometimes within the Cuban community, they don't realize I'm half Dominican, or within the Dominican community, they don't realize that I'm half Cuban. But those are my two halves. We have Edward Vargas. Thank you so much for the super chat. Chef Z, make a dog friendly. Do you have dogs also? Thank you. Yes. So we have 2 family dogs. And my parents are and I say family dogs because the dogs are technically my parents' dogs, but we treat them like our dog as well, since my husband and I actually dog sit my parents' dog, I would say 5 days a week, because I work from home. And so my parents don't, and we don't want the pups to be home alone. So I actually dog sit them while I'm working, just because they're my babies, and I'm happy to dog sit anytime. And we're actually dog sitting my stepbrother's dog as well. So I would be more than happy to make dog friendly meals. And matter of fact, I should probably, Mommy, if you're watching, I am signing you up for a video. My mom actually makes fresh dog food every week. Her and my sister, they actually make ground turkey with peas and carrots for the dogs. So when I tell you that those dogs comen bien, they eat so well, and we're obsessed with our pups, probably a little bit too much. So I love that idea, and that's definitely a fun suggestion. So I'm just dicing up the tostones, and again, I'm just roughly cutting them in 1/2-inch to 1-inch piece. Now, one of my favorite things, don't fall on the floor. I'm talking to the pot, I'm please don't fall on the floor, not after I had to search far and wide for you today. Now, one of my favorite things to actually eat this dish with is some rice and tostones. It's so good. So we have Christian Reels. Chef Z, I made it as fast as I could. I'm sorry for being a little late. Hopefully Christian, I am not mad at you at all. Please, thank you so much for joining us. Lucky for you, the dish that we're making today takes a little bit of while to cook, so we are hanging out for a little bit longer. I think this might be the longest live stream to date, so thank you to everyone who was able to join. Oh my goodness. So I'm just peeling this one. Now, you guys know I create the slit when I am peeling the plátano, so any of the 2 slits that allows you to really get in there, feel free to go in that direction. So now I'm just creating the second slit. Now, fun fact, my mother-in-law can peel plátanos honestly in like 2 minutes. She's like a pro at it. A straight pro. Whenever she comes over my house for dinner, one of the things I always ask her to do the favor is to que me pelo los plátanos, because she just does it without even thinking. Whereas like this one is giving me, oh, it's giving me a little bit of a headache. Come on, don't embarrass me in front of our friends and family. There we go. I get under the skin. You know, sometimes this happens, but it's totally fine. You just kind of go in with the knife, you nudge it, y ella va saliendo, as you can see. Yeah. And like always, just like the last 2 plátanos, I just like to go in and clean it up just a little bit and just make sure that I get as much as I can out of there. We have some oil popping in the background. I hope that doesn't mean that we got some moisture in there. I don't know from where. Oh, I know what it is. Give me a second, guys. The flame is too high. Uh-oh. Let's lower that. Sometimes, I'm not even joking you. Sometimes I forget that I have a professional range stove and things get hot a little bit quickly. And I always say cooking professionally is different than home cooking. And when you're cooking at home, you really don't need your stove to be a beast, because you're not really running a restaurant unless it's like Thanksgiving. I don't know about you guys, but in Thanksgiving, we all are running a restaurant out of our house with the amount of food that we cook. All right, so I cleaned it up. It looks pretty, even though this one me dio trabajo pelarlo. Se lo voy a picar. Just like the other ones, they're just 1/2 inch to 1 inch pieces. I'm just looking at what you guys are saying. Swanky Angelo says their hands are callous in the perfect spot to peel a plátano. And you know what? That is actually hilarious and so true. I couldn't agree more with you guys. All right, so as a matter of fact, has this ever happened to you guys? Uno pela los plátanos y le queda la mano to mancha. So my hands are to mancha right now. To mancha. That's how you know the plátano's going to be pretty good. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take, maybe not all, but most of these plátanos, and we're going to fry them up. I'm going to wait for my mom to come so that I have some freshly fried for her, because you know warm tostones are the best. And then by the time we're done making the tostones, everything else should be done, and then we can finally eat. So I'll see you guys at the stove. All right, let me just clear some room for myself. Now I know for a fact that this oil is nice and hot, and I'm using regular olive oil today, by the way. So I'm just gonna add them. Oh, so nice. Now, if you want your tostones to come out super nice and golden, one of the things that you can do is you can actually put them in some cold water with salt, and they'll come out beautifully golden and perfect. So I'm just adding the plátano to the hot oil. I'm so excited. I love plátano with any kind of like tomato sauce, especially from carne guisada or la albóndiga guisada. I don't know, I just go crazy for them. Thank you everyone who is joining us here today. I hope you're enjoying this longer dish. I know I'm gonna have a blast when it comes time to actually eating them. Oh yeah. So I'm just gonna add like 2 more, and then I'm gonna wait for my mom to come. So I'll fry the rest, because you definitely, if you're making them fresh, you don't want to serve them cold. They're just not the same. So I'm just cleaning up a little bit. Now, when it comes to making tostones, honestly, the #1 trick is to make sure that the flame is not too high. So making tostones, a lot of times, and I actually almost made that mistake where the flame was like too high, so I was going to scorch them. I find that over the years of making this, you just want to get the flame perfectly like medium, because then it's going to make sure it cooks evenly on both sides. I'm just going to check on them real quick. Speaking of which, I lowered the flame and then I lowered it too much, so now I have to like put them up just a little bit. And listen, cooking is all about having the confidence to know when you have to go up in fire or low a little bit more seasoning, a little bit more this, a little bit more that. And I hope that with a lot of my videos and a lot of my tips and tricks, I hope you guys get a lot more comfortable with moving around the kitchen as well. So Zach says, rub your hands with oil so you don't get your hands stained. Thank you for that tip. I actually forgot to do that. I know there's like other tips that you can take, like a steel, la cuchara. Like you take a steel cuchara, and that's mostly too, like, si uno sazona un pernil con la mano y le queda la mano con el oil de ajo, like that's another trick that you can do. But I was so excited that I definitely, luckily it's not even that bad. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's not. I've had it times where it seeps out like the milk and it's like te queda todo pegajoso. Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. So Suave says, my mom used to fry them, take them out, crush them, and into the frying pan. I've never done it that way. So one of the ways that I like to do it is I take them out and I actually like to use the bottom of a metal cup. This is like this used to be the cup for a Moscow Mule, and now this is my cup to make tostones. But you can either use something like this or use something like this. My grandmother 100% used to use like un jarro, like a metal cup. So that's what I like to do these days. Someone says, can I make pollo salteado? I haven't had that in so long that that's actually a really, really good suggestion. I'm just going to check on the tostones real quick. I'm going to flip them over. I'm going to see if they're ready so we can go ahead and actually start smashing them. All right, so these are beautifully golden. They need a little bit more time to finish cooking. So, so good. Oh, nice, yes. And these probably need like another 2 or 3 minutes. And this is hands down one of my favorite things to have with dishes. Now, I am gonna like have a little fun with you guys. This has now become like a running joke here on my channel. So part of today's dinner was supposed to be albóndiga guisada, so Dominican Style Meatballs con arroz blanco, some white rice, and some tostones. Y mira, no se me olvidó el aguacate hoy. I did not forget the avocados, lo tengo aquí, pero mira, you can see it for yourself, no tan pa hoy. So it's like, again, it's the running joke here on my channel that the avocados are never in alignment with me and you guys. And I was like, oh. All right, so it's getting a little bit hot. It's that time in the live stream where it's getting a little bit hot in the kitchen. It's a little bit of a water break. Now, thank you to everyone who has joined us here today. We are making a traditional Dominican dinner from top to bottom. I have all of the details listed down below. I hope you are excited. Let me know what I should make not next week, on Thursday. I have something in mind that's actually pretty fun, but I'm still curious to know what you guys would like for me to make, because if I don't make it this week, I can still make it next week. I'm gonna check on the tostones again because they look absolutely beautiful right now. Like, they are rocking and rolling. So let's check on them. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to see. This right here, we're cooking with grease now. This is, we mean business right now. This is amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And again, beautifully golden because they're fresh. So, so, so nice. I'm just gonna let them fry for like another minute or so, because you also don't want to take them out when they're too under, because then they'll just kind of like break apart when you mash them, and we don't want that. These meatballs, I can tell, are definitely stewing, but I don't want to open that because then it's gonna be un reguero de agua en el aceite, and I don't need that violence right now. So Zach says, kudos to you and everyone on the chat. I feel like I'm having a chat with my family. Great crowd. I'm so happy that you feel that way, and I'm so happy that we have the type of community where everyone feels like family, and we're just like chatting it up with like our cousins, our friends, because at the end of the day, that's all I want, is to just connect with you guys and make everyone feel like we're all together. So I'm going to start taking some of them out. Some of the smaller ones. I'm going to leave some of the bigger ones in the oil a little bit longer, just so that we can start mashing a few of these up. Oh yeah. That one's, yeah. So I'm going to leave those in, and we're going to move ahead. We're going to move along, and we're going to start mashing these. Now, one of the things that I love is to use a wooden cutting board to make this. So I take one cooked plátano, and then I take my cup, which is my preferred method, and you just smash it down. Y mira que bien te queda. Look at that, look at that. So another one, and I just mash it down. And again, this is how I saw my grandmother making tostones growing up, so that's why I like to do it now. So here we're gonna use our tostonera, which I do have linked in my Amazon store. And you just essentially put it in there, and then you mash it. Y te queda igual. It really, guys, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It comes down to personal preference. Para mí, yo prefiero el ajo, because deep down inside, soy una viejita. I'm a little old lady deep down inside. I'm a stickler for tradition, if you guys haven't noticed. So we have Yuli, who says, put the avocado brown paper bag with the ripe fruit, whether bananas or apples, and close it, and it makes the avocado get ripe faster. That is a dope trick, because let me tell you how I have some ripe mangoes right now in my house, because mangoes are in season. So, because a eso aguacate le falta un poco de día. You know how avocados are, like, they're ripe for like 15 minutes. I actually put a funny meme. I shared it on my Instagram where it's like, sorry, I can't hang out today because my avocados are set to be ripe between 6 and 6:15 today. And that's 100% how I feel. So I'm going to take out the rest of the plátano so that we can mash them, and then we're going to fry these guys for a second time. So here we go. And now I can take all of these out, honestly, because just judging by the first batch that we made, they're definitely ready to be fried. I'm actually going to turn off the flame for the meatballs because I can tell that they're definitely done. I can see through the glass that the sauce is bubbling ferociously. So, eso quiere decir que ya está. So now we're just waiting on the plátanos to be done. So I'm just going to take these out. I'm going to lower the flame to the oil because I did put it up a little bit higher just to speed things along. And now we're going to mash up. Ooh, ooh, that was hot. Ah, por poco me llega un dedo. Ooh. Nice, these look amazing. Someone say, hija, vamos para el campo. I love, and sometimes this is what I do. I'm not even gonna lie. I do like a little assembly line. This is me. I'm like legit showing you like what I do in real life. So I have like a little assembly line that I put all my plátano on. This is why I like to use a wooden cutting board. I almost forgot the name. And then I just go in 1, 2, 3. Yeah, again, like a little assembly line. So this is another trick that I like to do. Eso no me quedan kind of close, but that's fine. Yeah, and then I just put them back. Now, depending on how thick you cut your plátanos in the beginning determines how big or thick your tostones te quedan. So again, with our little assembly line, yep. Get them nice and neat in a row. Whew, they are hot. Hot, 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 friends. I'm gonna end this with no fingertips. Here we go again. Little assembly line. I'm curious to know if you guys have any tricks when you make your tostones, because I know everyone tiene su propio truco. Has their like own tricks that you either see like growing up that your mom or your aunt does, or even your grandmother. I'm just gonna run my knife through the bottom. Nice. Oh yeah. Just, oh, I see the family chat, the group chat is, Christian says, wow, Chef Z, that's a good tip. Your mom is just as creative in the kitchen. I'm cooking along with my mom. Hats off to mom. Yes, for sure. Fork the avocado and remove the pit. Toss them in a paper bag. Microwave. Oh, okay. I didn't know that either. I actually don't have a microwave in my kitchen, so I can't even do that right now. So Elsie says, can you make something sweet for your next live? Oh yeah. It's almost like you know what I'm doing in my next live. So I have mashed all of the tostones, so now I'm just going to refry them. So I'm just adding them to the oil. And this part is super, super quick, super, super easy. We're just adding them there so they get crispy. Whew. My fingertips. So Jade says Hispanics will flatten tostones with anything that they can find, and that is 100% facts. So just as quickly as I added the flattened tostones to the oil, we're going to take them out because they don't need much to cook, because I cooked them pretty well the first round. And as you can see, they have beautiful golden color. I'm going to add the next round real quick. Guys, I am super, super excited for today's dinner, especially because it is all coming together perfectly. Oh, we lost one. Set that one off to the side. I'm just adding this to the oil. Now, if you have little ones at home, this part of dinner may not be the best dish for them to help you with, simply because, you know, it's oil and we have to be careful. And one of the things that you always want to do is when you're frying is you want to have the handle away from you, just in case someone knocks into it. You don't want a grease fire, and you don't want un reguero de aceite, because that could be bad. So now we're just adding the last tostones to this, and we have a few that are already ready. So I'm just going to take them out. We have this guy. We have this guy that's already floating. Oh yeah. So, so, so good. Now the other thing, I don't know about you guys, but one of my biggest pet peeves, and this sometimes happens when you eat at a restaurant, they serve you reheated tostones. And it's just like, what? No. Like, I feel like that should be a crime. Honestly, I feel like that should be a crime. That is totally criminal to serve somebody like reheated tostones. Like, I don't know why anybody would ever do that. Make them fresh. They take all of like 5 to 10 minutes. Just as long, honestly, if you were to reheat them when you think about it. So I'm taking out the last tostone. I'm going to see you guys real quick on the island. All right, so we have fried up our tostones. And then to this, while they're hot, that's the key, is to just add a touch of salt. A touch of salt. Not too much, just a touch of salt. Oh yeah. We're gonna let that do its thing. I'm actually going to check now on the meatballs so that we can start to eat, because I don't know about you guys, but I have worked up quite the appetite. So let's see how our meatballs are doing. Turn this off. Let me just get this away. So I just want to see how everything is looking. Oh my God, look at those stewed meatballs. So, so good. Just mix this all up together. Oh my God. Mira como que, look how that salsa no quedó. Riquísimo. Now the sauce has a little bit more oil than I would like at the top, but that's very easy just to skim, and I'll show you what I like to do for that. I take a little spoon and I just skim the oil from the very, very top, para que no nos quede grasoso. And I just like remove it. Now I'm not gonna do it all here, but definitely before my mom eats. And sometimes this is actually natural. Sometimes this happens when you're using beef that it has a higher fat content. And earlier when I was making this, I was like, oh crap, I think I added a little bit too much olive oil. I 100% did, but it's not the end of the world. So I'm just going to mix this all together. Oh, I am super, super, super excited. All right, let's head on over to the island and let's finally get some food on the table. So I'm just setting everything to the side. All right, let's. And here we go. We have our meatballs that look amazing. I can't wait to eat. Let me grab my plates. I should say plates because my husband's like, eat yo, eat yo. Let me just grab one more little trivet because I do have rice that I've made off to the side. Oh, so good. So good. Let me just see real quick what you guys are talking about. Someone says heading to the supermarket for ground meat and Platano. I hope that means that you really enjoy what we're cooking today. Thank you. Also, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I know this was one of the longer live streams that we've done here on my channel, but listen, we are making some good food. So Yuli says, I like to place them on a napkin. I literally do that all the time. On a day like today where I'm like flustered and like moving all over, I forget like the finest details, like putting oil on my hands, putting the napkin. But trust me, I actually do that 95% of the time. So here we go. I'm actually going to make my plate right now. And what I like to do is I like to create a little bed of rice onto my plate. So I'm gonna add some rice onto a plate. Oh, so good. Now I actually like for the sauce of the meatballs to coat the tostones. So I'm gonna take some tostones and I'm actually going to create almost like a little dam on my plate. I don't know if you guys can see. So I have like the bed of the rice with my tostones, and now I'm going to add the meatballs. So before I add the meatballs, I actually like to first add the sauce just to make sure. So I add a little salsita, oh yeah. And then I'm going to add the meatballs. Oh, mira eso. Mira eso. Don't worry, I'll get you guys a close-up in a second. I'm just serving myself my dish. I am so excited to be eating. So we have Sophia that says, girl, your hair looks amazing. Thank you. It's like super frizzy from the weather, but thank you so much. I'm just letting it be natural for the summertime. So there we guys have it. We have our beautiful dinner. Thank you, CG Pipeline, for the super chat. You said, Z, you're the best. We're eating so good tonight with these meatballs. So many of you guys are saying that this looks delicious. Thank you so much. Rosie says, please move the camera back a little. Wasn't sure what.
Oh, because I couldn't see it.
Oh, you couldn't see it. Apologies. But I think you guys are good now. I think you guys can see. Look, mira. Modela el plato. Ooh, mira eso. Ooh. Yes, this little bed of rice with the meatballs. And you know what? While we're here, I want to show you guys. Look at that. Oh, like butter cuts through it. As you can see, it is There is no pink meat there. It is cooked throughout. So good. Super hot. So you got to be careful when eating this so you don't burn your mouth. I am known for that. Someone says, open the gate, we're coming. Someone else says, looks yummy. Love your channel. Use your recipe all the time. Wow. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit a new record. I didn't even get the first bite. My husband stole the first bite away from me. Oh my goodness. All right, now it's my turn to see cómo no quedó esta albóndiga. A ver. Cut a little. It is hot. All right, let's see. Oh, yes. That. One moment. That is a dinner, very well cooked. Thank you guys so much for joining us here today while I made these tasty Dominican style meatballs full of flavor. I hope you guys enjoyed cooking with me live. Don't go too far. I actually have another live stream coming up on Thursday where we're actually going to be making hint, something sweet, because I know throughout all these live streams I yet haven't made something sweet. So we're going to change it up a little bit. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for some of my regular videos that will be coming back to my channel pretty soon. I love hanging out with you guys. Just want to take a, before we sign off, I just want to see what the group chat is saying. Someone said, Diablo, que antojo que tengo. Y con razón, because la comida quedó divina. Buen provecho. Someone says, love when you're dancing when you taste your food. Listen, you guys know me. If your food doesn't make you excited, make you do like a little shimmy and a little dance, did you really cook? Is the food really that good? I don't know. I have questions. So Christian says, Chef Z, you would not believe what almost happened while my mom was serving the food. My Pomeranian puppy, Rocky, almost tripped me on my left foot, almost slammed the pot of meatballs. Oh. Moment of silence, because, man, that almost got super real. Happy that the puppy, you, and the food are okay, because that's what's important. Where people said that the food looks good, it tastes amazing. Like I said earlier, thank you so much for joining us here today. The CG Pipeline says the meatball thief. Yes, we definitely had a meatball thief, a salami thief, a chick. I don't even know. He steals all my food. Oh my goodness. What happened?
I was laughing at the meatball.
Oh, my husband is over here laughing at the meatball thief. He's laughing at himself. Like, yes, you are guilty as charged, sir. Eating my first bite. Si vergüenza. Thank you guys again. I'll see you next week. If you need some more inspiration on what to cook next, I have so many recipes here on my channel. If you want to catch the replay, all of these live streams are dedicated on a playlist. And I'll see you next week. I'm hungry, so let's eat. Ooh, so good.